All right. Well, we want to welcome Adam from Holosun. Adam, dude, how are you doing today?
Good man. Excited to be here with you guys and talk guns.
Yeah, us too. Us too. We just logged in and just were chatting, but I was like, hold on, we got to log in and look at all this stuff. So I see the Franklin. I see the brass cleaner in the back. I see the freaking X10. What plate do you have on there? What are you reloading right now?
Right now, it's my run and gun 5.56 ammo in there right now. On this side, we've got two Hornady presses. One's my long range 223. One is going to be my 9mm for run and gun. And then on this side, we've got an RCBS rock chucker with 7.62 by 39 for my AK matches.
Let's go.
And then right 6.5 Creedmoor and 22 arc right now from our alligator hunt last weekend, but it's usually 308.
Dude, I need my next birthday party. I'm having it at Adam's house. Like some people go for games or like I don't know whatever kids do nowadays. Now screw that. Let me go in there. That'll be fun.
It's
I've got.
super.
I was gonna say I've got an X10, but it's like I've got it set up for 5.56, and it's just for range ammo right now. But like you are decked out, dude.
I like
Yeah,
how
go
I
ahead.
like how 7.62 is like starting to get hard to get, and so Adam's like, I'll just load match grade ammo myself. Very
Yeah, I,
American of you.
I talked to the guys at Global Ordnance. We work a lot with them, and they were like, "Yeah, we've got brass case. It's not even that bad." And I was like, "Cool." I'm like, "Send me some because I'm gonna shoot it and reload it." They're like, "Yeah, cool." And then I work with Hornady and some other guys. I work for Athlon Outdoors, their reloading section, and we got the 22 arc. Went alligator hunting last weekend with it. That was my birthday. It was actually last weekend.
Yeah.
We smoked. My youngest kid got a 10-foot 9-inch gator when it was stretched out. My wife got a 10-foot, I think 2 or something like that. My oldest got a 9-foot gator, and then I got a 9.9. And my sister got one as well. My mom was there for it. And my dad's
Dang.
birthday's day before mine. He passed this year, so we kind of did in honor of him. Went and did something, and yeah, a bunch of Ohio people going down and killing swamp puppies. So it was a heck of a time.
Rad.
Dude, that sounds like a blast. That
What a
sounds like
good tribute.
yeah. Well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get into before we get too
Get
far in.
it, boys.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into our first segment, which will be Ask AI, Matt.
All right. So on Ask AI, this portion of Ask AI is brought to you by our friends over at Wheeler Tools.
When precision matters, trust the tool that delivers. The Wheeler Pro Series 100-piece fat wrench kit brings unmatched control to your bench. With torque you can trust and 100 purpose-built bits, it's the all-in-one answer for gunsmiths, builders, and perfectionists. Whether you're mounting optics or dialing in fine details, this kit hits every mark. Clean, confident, repeatable. No guesswork, no strip screws. Just pro-level performance in your hands. Upgrade your bench with Wheeler Tools.
So we asked AI, who is Holosun Optics? It says founded in 2013 and headquartered in California, Holosun Technologies specializes in optics and laser infrared technologies for shooting, hunting, law enforcement, and military applications. They aim to offer cutting-edge features and solid build quality at competitive prices. Captured by their tagline, Holosun, your next optic. Says they're known for proprietary technologies that have advanced optics technology, solar fail safe, the little solar panels, take awake, multi-reticle system, and boast up to 100,000 hours of battery life.
Damn. How did that sound? Did we miss anything when we're talking about Hollow Sun, or did we just
No, I
did we
mean
just
that was a pretty good synopsis given its AI. I mean, I'm not too mad about that one at all.
yeah, I mean it reads the website really well.
It does. It does a good job.
You know, when we do shows with like smaller companies, it's really interesting because it's either dead on and it scares them like they're like wow, or they're like I have no clue what this thing's even talking about. It's like those are the best ones. So for everyone out there listening, man, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody, who you are and what you do for Holosun?
Yeah, so my name's Adam Litke. I go by Holosun _ Adam on Instagram. when you guys see stuff on there. I help run the Holosun Instagram page as well and social media stuff. I shoot competition. I've shot for IWI now and Holosun for about the same time. I think it's almost 10 years. And then other companies as well. I've been fortunate to kind of be really blessed with working with a lot of really great companies in the 2A space. And when I started with Holosun, people think I'm joking when I say this, but we were in a booth downstairs at SHOT Show, and I practically had to like give people candy to come to our booth just to talk to me because most of them were like, "All right, there's another Optic company." They'd walk by, and they'd blow us off. And now at SHOT Show, myself and Josh, our marketing director, I bet we do anywhere between 50 and 100 interviews a day. And we joke. I'd asked for like a space to do interviews years ago, and we finally got it. And we joke, there's a casting couch looking thing in there, and I just sit in there the entire day doing interviews. Whatever the rumors are, what else I do for free guns and stuff, that's on them. I don't confirm or deny any of that. But it's been a wild ride. It's been something that's been super cool, and the team has kept me around. They had very little money for marketing for a booth babe. I worked for Chick-fil-A, and that was good enough. So now here I am all this time later, still working for Chick-fil-A and, being an ugly booth babe.
Dude, I love it.
Heck yeah.
I love sitting on that couch talking about, so what brings you into the firearm optic industry?
What can I sell you today?
I was wondering for a second. I was like, "Man, should we ask to have a meeting on the couch?" And now I'm kind of second guessing it. So we'll see how that goes.
Oh, we're pimping you out, man. You're doing it, damn it.
One will also smell like glitter and disappointment, and the other one will be happy. So you gotta figure out who's who first.
see, I love that. Well, dude, that was awesome. So let's go ahead and get into our rapid fire. So what I'm going to do, Adam, is I'm going to ask you 15 questions. They're real quick, short answers. Let's see if we can get through them as quick as we can. It's kind of like a game show final or whatever, but it's going to let our listeners kind of understand who you are and kind of get a feel for your personality. Your workspace matters, and the Tipton Best Gun Vise 360 doesn't play around. Built for serious shooters, this vise locks down rifles, shotguns, and ARs with zero movement and full control. Tool-free adjustments, rock-solid clamping, and a 360-degree rotating cradle give you access from every angle. No shortcuts, no compromises. Whether you're building, cleaning, or dialing in, this vise was made to keep up. Tipton Best Gun Vise 360. Built to hold, built to work. So let's go ahead and get it started. What is worse, dead batteries or fogged glass?
Fogged glass.
Bigger headache, optic footprints or optic mounts?
Mounts.
What gun do you hate to admit that you own?
Hate to admit that I own. I've got a high point somewhere in here.
Hell yeah. So 507 comp, too big, too small, just right, or it can definitely get bigger?
Just like I tell my wife, it can get bigger.
Hell yeah. If Holosun came to you with all their marketing money and said, Adam, you got to pick a mascot, what mascot would you pick for Holosun?
Oh, man. Well, they came to me with all their money. It was $46, and that was me. So that's what we bought.
Who talks more trash, competition shooters or tactical guys?
Tactical guys.
All right. If you had to give up one, Shake Awake or multi-reticle options?
Shake Awake.
SHOT Show, is it the industry highlight or is it a necessary evil?
A necessary evil.
All right. Going to your competition, rifle stage or pistol stage, what do you look forward to most?
Rifle.
Better feeling, perfect transition on targets or the perfect reload?
Perfect transition.
All right. Pick one, plate rack or the Star?
The Star. Love it.
All right. So I'm going to name a couple things. We got slipping on brass. We've got gun jams. We've got shooting wrong targets, running out of ammo. Those are just a few fails when it comes to competition. What's your most embarrassing fail?
My most embarrassing fail. You know what? I slipped on. It was like sand, and I slipped and went head first into it. I mean, just complete fail.
All right,
Dang.
better shooter, you or Kenzie?
100% me.
Good.
She's
And
beat me once. That's all. That's it.
in honor of the Holosun casting couch, you're familiar with marry one, F1, kill one. So we're going to go with keep one, sell one, break one. RMR, Delta Point Pro, Aim Point Acro.
So we're just gonna sell all of them.
We had to try.
Super funny.
We had to sell them all. Well, man, you made it through. You made it through really easy.
Let's go.
Those are fun ones. I wanted to ask some of those. So I was like, man, I got to ask about the Galil because there's in the AK world, there are people that say it's not an AK. So
There's going to be a bunch of neckbeards out there arguing about it on
Oh.
Reddit. I know it. They're
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be like, he said it was an AK and he said it was the best. He is so wrong because. Like, okay, guys, relax.
Between that and when I fell, that one time when I fell, I had the only 507 comp that was like probably 5 of them that existed, and I had a tree branch that was like laying down. It went through. It like destroyed the glass.
Oh,
I had
just
to email the
nuked
guys.
it.
Yeah, I had to email the guys. I'm like, hey, you know that new optic you gave me? They're like, yeah, how's it going? I'm like, yeah, I destroyed it.
Needs to be a little stronger.
Yeah, I was like day 3, and I went boom right. Like, I mean, one in a million, but it was like full force into something, and it wrecked the glass.
dude, that's a bad day.
So,
It was.
Adam, I think I think most people who are going to end up tuning into this are pretty aware of who Holosun is. But give us the quick rundown of Holosun, the elevator pitch, the elevator pitch.
Yeah, so when most people come and they're looking, what I tell them is that reliability is kind of that gold standard is what we're looking for. It can cost a lot, it can cost a little, but you're looking at reliability, you're looking at options. Holosun gives you the reliability that you want, that you can do almost anything with, but it also gives you the options, which I tell people a lot of times when I started, I shot an aim point. It was a T2 back then was the one I was shooting, and it had the dot only, and I didn't like that. I wanted the circle and the dot, so I switched to EOTech, but the battery life sucked. And then Holosun came out soon after that. I bought some of their original ones and started shooting for them after that, not long after. And I mean, now that's all I shoot. And I think again, we've bridged that gap of like reliability, options, and cost. And so a lot of people, like what I tell people a lot of times is, I've got 2 kids and a wife. If we want to go shoot, I need 4 guns outfitted. I can't outfit 4 guns when the optics are $600 a piece or $700 a piece. It's just not feasible. What I look at is, are they reliable? Yes. The Ames, the SCRS, the Ames Max, they're reliable. You can get some of these for $200, street price. And, they have a lot of options. You have circle, you have dot, you have circle dot for the 507 comp. You got 8 reticles in there. And so, again, if you're looking for high quality, if you're looking for reliability, but options, we've got it covered. We have it in spades.
Man, it gave me, while you were giving that pitch, I just had this like, it would be the most cringiest photo ever, but like we need you in a dark alley with a trench coat, like opened up like one of those watch salesmen and have all the different Holosuns on there. Like, bro, I got you. Cause I'm like, dude, he said street price. And I'm like, damn, this guy's out here like in back alleys flipping.
Gray market Holosuns.
I'm like, I love it.
I gotta figure out a photo like that. I'm gonna get something going. I'm gonna figure that out.
You got to get something going.
So there's when you talk to the experts on Reddit, everyone has their own opinion, but Holosun does have a reputation for punching above their weight class. So was that always the mission when it comes to bringing those products to market?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was. I mean, I've been at SHOT Show for a long time with those guys, NRA, other shows, and it just seems like every year there's something new that we bring out that definitely hits above our weight class in terms of what people are expecting. The 510C, which was it just stole the firearms market in terms of the optics, overnight. The Ames, the SCRS, the new Aero optics, the Ames Max, the thermals. The thermal alone, I remember when we released that, and I don't know how we kept it quiet. I figured somebody would say something during the release, as release of the SHOT Show. And that's been just a game changer in terms of a lot of things for people to have access to thermal at a very reasonable cost when you think of what thermals cost. Most of us used to FLIRs, they're $5,000 clip-ons, or they're the dedicated scope ones that go for even more than that. And we brought thermal to the market for a very reasonable price. That you can record video in it, you can take pictures. You have the Ames that's just a super high quality bomb-proof design. The 507 comp we were talking about, that it took the competition side by storm. It's really amazing. Our lights and our lasers. I would have been the first person to say, our lasers years ago, they were okay. I mean, they weren't great, but they were okay. The IR Illuminator was always kind of anemic, it was a little bit weak. The new Iris series is absolutely phenomenal, and my buddies and I have put them up against some of the top tier stuff with full power, and it stands up. The new Raid flashlight, fantastic flashlight for the money, and it's always interesting as we kind of step up and keep going. And you talk to our team, and the main concern is how do we answer what the public wanted that we didn't have last time. That's always the main goal. It's like, hey, they wish this would have had this or this would have had that, and it's like, all right, let's go back to the drawing board and figure out how do we put that inside of that, or how do we give this into that. So I think it's a great team. It's a team that I can say this, with an honest face is when I'm at SHOT Show and I see a lot of people when SHOT Show ends, they all go their own way. They don't eat together, they don't drink together, they don't do whatever. We literally as a team go out and we all eat at the same place together. We go out and I don't drink, but most teams drink. We drink together. It's crazy. We'll stay out till 2, 3 in the morning, which I'm old, so for me that's a really late, long time. But these dudes, like, it's a brotherhood. It literally is, and it's been that way since day one. Is that hey, we're here together. We're here to hang out together. We're here to work as a team together. And I think that's why when you stop by our booth and everyone's smiling, even though they're completely drained, it's because we all look at it and we go, if I'm not showing up today, he's got to do more work. He's got to do more work. What's he going to have to do? So the whole team just pulls it together. And it's always 110%, which, it's a brotherhood, and I love it so much. It's great to see and experience.
Hell yeah.
Well, and I can attest to that. Like, we've seen you guys at a couple of shows now, and you're always in pretty good spirits, or at least got your good fake it face on. So, and yeah, we do always see you traveling in a pack together. So salute to that. It takes especially a team of more than, like, it's easy for me and Mikey to get along for a few days. Like, it's just two of us,
two people
at this point. It's just like, whatever. I can stand that guy for a week or so. It'll be all right. But to work that often together and be that tight knit's pretty awesome. Adam, you've been with Holosun. You've worked with them to some capacity for how long? What year did you say?
Like 9 or 10 years now. I'm sure somebody online will correct me with who actually knows.
Yeah, they'll look up your hiring documents, call HR, and be like,
"This guy's a faker."
The faker, he's a phony. He's a great big phony. So we'll call it around a decade. So I mean, that's not the very beginning of Holosun, but that's pretty early on in the company history. So when you guys are new, you're bringing stuff to market. Did you think that you would be taken seriously? Did you expect there to be hurdles as a new optics company who's been very open from the beginning of, like, yes, we are building things in China to be able to provide a little bit better value? Like, did you expect that?
I wanted it, like, in my heart. I hoped it would, obviously, because I'm sitting there trying to rep the brand and trying to show people what it has and the value in it. But I think it's hard to see when you first get into the field. Like, you have EOTech, you have Aimpoint, you have some of those companies that are just like, if you say their name, everyone knows who they were at the time.
Heavy hitters.
You say Holosun, they're like, that's some new company downstairs in the basement. We'll maybe see them, maybe we won't. And to go from that to what it is now, it's a Cinderella tale. I mean, honestly, and it's crazy to see. On my Facebook, like, we all have the story pops out from however many years ago, and it's like, here's the booth and here's the guys working, and and now to see where we're at, and then we're upstairs, and we're a destination spot for most people to come by and stop by. And I'm out at a shooting match, and people are stopping by asking about stuff, wanting to try it, and I literally carry like a little mini suitcase around all the time at matches with all of our optics in case someone's optic goes down, in case they need one. You
There's
know,
that
Mikey
and
was
it,
right. Mikey was right about the trench coat with
It's
the.
that trench coat. Look what you got. I got what you need.
no, yeah, we had a guy not too long ago. His optic went down, and I said, "Hey, I'm like in the back of the truck. I've literally got the little like football case kind of a thing with the optics." And he went over there. He saw one he liked. We literally mounted his gun. We zeroed in with one of the ROs, and he shot the rest of the match with it. And he's like, "All right, let me get back to you." I said, "No," I said, "Just run with it, man." I said, "This is gonna be great marketing if nothing else." uh, and he still runs it to this day. And that's the kind of stuff like I didn't the team is generally like, hey, if you see something happen, be the answer for somebody, help them out, be the best you can. Holosun's there to help other shooters, and that's been great because it's you don't see a lot of companies, and it's great that if someone's optic goes down, I've got the ability to say, hey, here you go. And generally, go ahead and just keep running it, and that means the world to most people. I mean, they're gonna buy 10 optics because they're like, hey, you guys are actually here. You'll talk to us, and you're willing to help us out. Like that's insane. So yeah, Cinderella story, and I've just it's been a blessing to say the very least. Absolute blessing.
Hell
Right
yeah.
on.
Yeah. So when you guys first, when you took, I'm just talking about Holosun since you've been here, but, you know, from that time going forwards till today, what was the strategy behind bringing, this product to the market and, you know, taking on the giants of the industry, whether they're deserve it or not, those storied names, it's just, oh, well, if it's not blank, then, it's nothing because they've been around forever. So what was the strategy and some of the challenges bringing Holosun to the market?
Yeah, I think at least in especially the very early years when I had first started, a lot of it was showing reliability because people are willing to give you a chance if you're cheap enough. Like they'll buy one, throw it on a gun. If it breaks, it
Yeah.
breaks. I mean, we've all done it, right? We, excuse me. We've all had that the gun show optic that has like 18 different colors built in and 40 reticles and doesn't hold zero, but it was $20, so why not? Um, and so I think getting people to realize they are reliable, they will stand up. That was one of the biggest things to do, and then continuing that because it's easy to do it for one optic, right? You can get one optic really well, and the rest of them can crap the bed, but you've got one really solid optic. But the team at Holosun is kind of like, hey, let's push the envelope, let's look at something new, but it's still got to be very sturdy and very reliable. And I think that's kind of where a lot of this stuff comes and goes to from on our side and bring it to market is is it going to hold up or is it going to sully the name of Holosun? Like, because it takes forever to build a reputation. It doesn't take long to destroy one.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's just been a blessing that, when the team looks at stuff and they take our advice and they look at, the next design, how we're going to do things. One big thing I always tell them is don't change footprints. One of your questions was footprint or reticles. And, I'm lucky because most of our footprints are ubiquitous across lines, but that wasn't always the case, but I love our reticle selection. That's one thing I absolutely love is having the options, based on what I'm doing that day. But, just taking that into account, because how many of us have bought handguns and the generation two of the handgun has a different magazine? And now you got to throw out 50 magazines that cost $30 each. And the same's for optics. If they keep switching footprints, you're like, all right, now I need a new plate. That's $100. I need a new mount. That's $100. I need this. I need that. And that's tough. I mean, I have a stay-at-home wife and I have two kids, so I don't have a bunch of money just go throwing at optic mounts and plates and everything else. So I think always being focused on the consumer and trying to make that reliability, that's what's kind of pushed us forward. And marketing wise, that's been our thing is like, let's bring what you want to you and let's do it in a cost effective manner, but still be reliable.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it definitely sounds like there was a little apprehension. I think there still is, maybe even. But obviously, as a company, you've grown through that, are just continuing to move and continuing to bring like really amazing technologies to the optics market. A lot of stuff that, and then trickle down happens into the market. A lot of the things that shooters get to enjoy now, like Shake Awake or other technologies that are similar to it, are trickled down from stuff that Holosun brought us. What do you think was like the breakthrough moment or maybe the breakthrough product that you think was really that like connected with the gun community and was like, this is okay, we got to take Holosun Seriously.
I think for me, and I think for what I remember, the 510C was that breakthrough. That optic was just, I mean, I couldn't go to a match without seeing 100 of them. I mean, they were on pistols, they were on shotguns, they were on rifles, they were on PCCs. Everybody that had something had a 510C. And that was one of those bomb-proof, just reliable optics that was a relatively inexpensive choice that people could buy, 3 or 4 of them at a reasonable price. And that was one that just, to this day, it's still, you see them everywhere. It just stole the show and it still continues to do so. Got one up there,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, there's one
Yeah.
right there, magnifier. I'm sitting there when you said pistols, I'm like, who the hell put that on a pistol? But I know they do it. I know they do it.
Back in the day, JJ Rakaza came over and he had, I think, the very first pistol mount. It was a giant plate. I think it was gigantic. And he had that thing on top of his pistol.
Inch and a half riser with a 510 on it.
He's like, hey, and I'm like, freaking JJ Rakaza's here. He's like, yeah, we'll put on a pistol. I'm like, on a what? He's like, a pistol. I'm like, sure. Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
He's gonna need he's gonna need like a canted 10 MOA mount. Like, we're gonna have to turn it down. The height over bore is gonna be ridiculous, but damn it, we're shooting. So, referring back to my friends and experts over at Reddit and the rest of the interwebs, there's meme pages, there's people everywhere that, if it's not brand X, it sucks, regardless of whether it's optics, guns, slings, you name it, ammo. But, what do you say to the guy who says, oh, I'm not going to buy that because it's an imported optic on my rifle or pistol? What do you say to people that, that have that mentality? How do you flip that?
So what I usually do is if we're at a range, I let them shoot mine. But I always tell them try it. I mean, and I get it. I mean, there's certain things that I'm picky about, and I want X, Y, or Z. But I always tell people keep an open mind. I mean, not long ago, I remember for a long time, you guys probably do too, it was iron sights or nothing, because optics will fail to get you killed in the streets,
Yep.
and they're too slow. And then you saw everybody go, okay, so optics make you 100 times faster. They make you more accurate. They're easier to train people with. They're the way to go. And then it was, hey, if you're shooting 3-4 yards, LPVOs are a great option because now you can kind of zoom in and zoom out, and they're reliable and they can get bumped around and not lose zero. And so I think, just try things. I mean, I know we, especially as we get older, you definitely get stuck in your ways. You're like, I know this, I don't want to use that. But I tell everyone to try everything. And if you don't like it and maybe it's not for you, hey, we've all got opinions. We all have likes that we have, but I always tell people to try them. And 9 times out of 10, I mean, it's honestly like people try the stuff I have and they're like, okay, I really like that. The Ames Max is actually a good one. It's this giant guy right here, and it's my Genesis shotgun, so it's a bigger gun as well. And
Yes.
they're like, oh, that's stupid. It's too big. I don't like it. And then they shoot my shotgun with it, and they're like, okay, this is actually super cool because I can see everything, and it actually does do what it's supposed to. And I'm like, okay, see, if you try something, you may like it, and they may not as well, but yeah, 9 times out of 10, they try something. They love the pistol optics, the rifles, the flashlights, the lasers, and next thing you know, I see them running one, and and they're having a ton of fun just shooting it. And they're like, yeah, I like it now, and I'm like, yeah, all right.
Matt, I'm seeing more and more people come on the show that have the damn Genesis shotguns, and Cody's our homie, but God dang, we're poor.
Nope.
I'm just gonna go ahead and flex it and say it.
I don't know. We're either poor. I know we definitely don't shoot good enough, I think is a major issue. But everybody that we know that has one is like upper echelon of shooters.
Maybe that's the key. Maybe if we get one, maybe we will be upper echelon shooter.
Hold on. I'm not a mathematician, but that adds up.
I think so.
That adds up.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, before we get into proving grounds for Holosun, let's take a quick drink break and hear from the friends of Archimeda sample.
So are we ready to pick back up and go?
Rock and roll. Everybody well watered?
Yeah. All right. So we're back from the commercial break. Before Matt gets into the next question, we're going to interrupt this podcast for special news. I'm sitting here reading and I'm talking with Kenzie Fitzpatrick, And she has told me to tell Adam he can't shoot a shotgun for shit, even though he's never gotten one that runs also, and won't run mine because of his ego. Just kidding. Love that man to death.
Oh,
She said, ask him how he shit the bed at Kalash Bash. Just wait. After November, we'll know who the best is at the 3-gun finale match.
To be fair,
dang, get called out.
you did ask who's better, and I said she beat me once, and that was the one match.
To be fair,
I learned a very valuable lesson. I was shooting brass case 760 by 39 from
Ooh,
Yugoslavia because it looks super
ooh,
cool in pictures. And
M48.
I got a really bad batch, like maybe like 4 MOA was the best case scenario. It was literally horrendous. And so I learned a very valuable lesson that day, and that is only shoot my global ordnance 760 by 39 and nothing else. That was the lesson I've learned. Very valuable. And I also bought a VR maybe, VR 80, VR maybe, whatever they call it.
Here,
And
maybe.
and it was a VR maybe. It was a boom boom, clear double feed, boom boom, mag falls out, boom boom, nothing works. So yeah. Yeah, so now I shoot a Genesis and the gun works just fine. It's crazy how that works.
was going to say
Wow.
I've
Who
got a
would guess?
comrade. I was going to say I've got a comrade up there, and I have yet to have anybody that has shot it have success firing 2 in succession. It's always fire 1, fail to feed, jam, rack it out, put a new one in, boom, boom. So it just doesn't work. But yeah, Matt, you've got a story to get into this proven in conflict. You've got a story to talk about your AK too and what you did at a match and one of your fails.
Okay, yeah, I'll share my match fail. So to be fair, also like my first my first carbine match. So like I'm very new to competition. I've shot a rinky-dink little milsurp comp. I've shot one carbine competition, and now I've shot one round of action steel or whatever. So I'm very new. But I was like, oh man, I'm gonna shoot my new EOTech on my rifle on this gun, and that's what I'm gonna shoot. Scott over at RS Regulate like rushed me out the Picatinny upper for the top half of his gun so that I could mount my EOTech to it. And like I went out, I got it zeroed. I shot at like 100 to 150 yards. I'm like, all right, great. Because I thought this match was going to be mostly like run and gun, like just hosing stuff. Well, it turns out it wasn't. And I've got this optic that I put like 100 rounds through this freaking AK, and I'm shooting at distances over 300 yards, just standing out in the sun in the middle of Idaho, like 102 degrees. I shot almost 400 rounds in a carbine match, and just sending them. I did get it walked in, but man, so don't do like me, like don't switch up your whole set because you think you know better. If you're looking to get into competition, just go with old trusty and
Run what you brung.
run what you brung. Don't go switching it up. So there's my competition faux pas. So I want to mention Adam because a lot of people, some people are like, again back to the power of the redditors, but Holosun optics are not battle proven optics. And I think with a lot of world conflict that we're seeing that they literally are battle proven content or battle proven optics. So
Yeah.
is there
I mean, yeah.
was that a thing at Holosun? Like when that happened, was it almost a benchmark or at least an office joke that like these are battle proven optics?
Yeah, I mean it's so one thing like if you're not at the booth you don't see them. I will tell people like I don't tell them specific like military branches or stuff, but at SHOT Show, we have a number of different military. I mean usually some SF guys from overseas that can pick their optics. We have guys who are just police and police whatever. But we have a lot of people using our stuff, and some you just have to look for it to see it. They just assume that no one's running it. But yeah, I mean the war over in Ukraine. I mean, I'm constantly being sent war footage from people that are like, hey, it's a 510, that's a 403, that's a Ames optic, that's a whatever. I'm like, that's crazy to see. I mean, some of these dudes are in trenches and just, I mean, mud covered, stuff blown up next to them. So yeah, I mean, I would definitely say they're at this point. I mean, they're they're battle tested. So it's been interesting though, because that is one thing that's valid. I mean, there was not a giant military force using 100,000 of XYZ, but we did know there were SF guys and other units that were running them just on a smaller scale. But now you're seeing them in Ukraine with some of these guys that are just it's run what you brung. I mean it
Yeah.
seems to be that's how they're doing this battle.
Yeah, yeah. And do you think that because of that exposure, it's shifted some of the perception of Holosun amongst, hopefully, if it's something Holosun wants to get into, the Western militaries and contractors?
I mean, I think it definitely did. I mean, it's like anything else, right? It's one thing to hear, it's one thing to see it. And when people start seeing it and they're seeing them used successfully, I think that changes anybody's opinion. I mean, it's just like, when we said our optics were reliable when they first came out, until you prove them and see them that they're reliable, you're like, okay, well, what if? But now people are seeing them, being used in CQB in very tight quarters with explosions going on near them and people, battering them around, and they're still working just great.
Yeah, yeah, I can definitely see that. And, having some, I've got the 510, I've got a couple of the, it's the smaller 507s. I've got one of those. But actually having a lot of hands-on with this 507, I mean, in CQB, like that thing's a cheat code, like trying to do some of the, some of the personal defense stuff from, 2 and 3 yards and backing up while drawing and shooting. And I mean, the thing just, you can pick up that dot so quick and it just points. And so it makes you a whole lot better. There's certain optics and there's certain guns and certain, I don't even want to say brands, just innovation. There's certain innovation in this industry that if you utilize it, it will make you the shooter that much better and almost give you a false sense of security, thinking like, oh man, I can compete with the best of the best. And then you're quickly humbled. But getting out there and having to shoot like that, I mean, they really do. It's a force multiplier. And so I think that's just awesome that, you guys are getting that kind of exposure for it in, conflict.
Yeah, agreed.
Adam, there's stories of other optic brands that are fairly new who are beginning to make shifts and set a physical manufacturing footprint in the U.S. to shoot for whatever type of contracts. Is there anything in the works from Holosun to step in and try and compete amongst some of those U.S. legacy brands? Are you ready to fulfill that, like completely replace them? Like what's Holosun's move for that part of market share?
I think right now I'd have to say I cannot confirm or deny. I
Yeah,
think that's the
that's
question
fair.
that saves me still being employed.
That's fair. That's fair. I knew it was a spicy one. I was like, I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask.
The old Dave, I plead the fifth.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah.
All right.
So do you, looking at what these, looking at what numbers tell you from your sales and all that, what are you seeing, as far as, I don't know. I know you don't have the data in front of you, so this is all completely inaccurate. This is just personal opinion. But what are the numbers that you can recall tell you about where shooters are putting their money now compared to 5 years ago?
So I guess I would speak more from personal experience, and I think we're seeing a lot of pistol optics moving, and I think it's because personally I think it's because of the shift in the marketing, right? I mean, not even probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago, everything just shipped with iron sights, and that was the end of it. And then recently they started shipping everything as an optics plate now. It just seems like everything comes with an optics cut. They've got plates that come with them, and I mean, no matter how big or small the company, that's just how guns ship now. And I think that's where you see a lot of it. Um, Ironically, what I hear and see a lot of is people like I want to pick what I want, right? I want to go look and see which one I like the most. A lot of people want to just be sold the whole package. So give me the gun, give me the optic, have it mounted for me. Like just do it all and send it to me. Um, and I think some of that just comes down to, especially with pistols, how much people actually shoot through their pistol. And I think your average person doesn't shoot that much through their pistol. They shoot, maybe 2 or 3 magazines, and so they want everything just ready to go. When it comes to rifles, it varies. I mean, I see a lot of the aims. The aims is still like the king when it comes to a lot of rifle stuff. And I view that as because it's pretty bomb-proof, as a very luxurious window that you can see through. It's a solid price point. I think the new Aero optics, which kind of look like this, it's kind of like our 403 series type. It's like a renovation of the 403 series, the revitalization. That's going to move a lot because it's got a super solid price point for the market. But I think what we're definitely seeing is the optics move a lot, and then money's tight right now, so they're definitely looking at what is a good deal and what is reliable, where they're not going to replace it after 2 or 3 years. And so I think those kind of things are coming together, and they're doing a lot of looking. When it comes to competition, 100% the 507 comp. I mean, I see like everyone and their mom's running one of those. On shotguns, the Ames Max, you're seeing that like on almost everything. And then for your rifles, it's usually the Ames that I see. That or the SCRS because it's a super solid footprint and price point. But I think you're also seeing a lot of the new Arrow as those get released. Those are like just moving like hotcakes. And then a little bit outside your question, but we're seeing a lot of people get in night vision and thermal, like a metric ton of them are shifting to that. And so we're seeing obviously like the iris. We can't produce enough irises to get them out there. Like you produce 100 of them, they're sold like in the same second you produce them. The Raid flashlights move super fast. People are trying to put white lights on guns. And then the thermal optic itself, that thing moves a ton. And I think once people get their hands on it, it's going to move even more. Like I tell most people, this is actually my kid's gun that we use for varmints. I use it as a passive aiming device. So I just light the thermal up and I use my red dot that's behind it to aim with. And it's kind of like a clip on at that point. Because, again, I don't need thermal 99% of the time. I need it, at night or if I'm not sure where something is at. So I think it's just shifting demographics, in my opinion. It's kind of like suppressors right now. Everyone wants a suppressor because, hey, during COVID, I bought 150 AR-15s. Now I've got my optics. Now I got to buy some suppressors. So I think it's that shifting demographic is kind of what we're seeing a lot of. But definitely pistol optics are just, they're hot. They're just, you can't produce enough of them anymore.
Yeah, so I do want to go back and talk a little about your thermal and your night vision because we've talked to a couple guests in the past. I own night vision. There's a lot of people. It's still the craze to a point. But what I notice a lot is when someone asks me, what kind of night vision do you have? And I tell them what I have. And then they ask, what kind of night vision should I buy? I'm like the worst salesman ever because my first answer is, or my first question to that is, tell me how many of your friends that you're going to shoot with have night vision. And if they say, oh, all my friends have kit, we train in it, we do night hunts in it, we do whatever it is. I'm like, well, then spend the money on whatever you think is going to be best for you in your price range because you're going to benefit from it. But if you're the first or second or third guy out of your 10 guy group to buy night vision, odds are you're going to be happy with it the first month. Second month, you'll train less with it. Third month, you'll LARP around the house and maybe look at the stars with it. And fourth month, it sits in the safe until you get the call that the boys are training. And, it's really, it's a lot of money to invest in one piece of gear. And watching how you guys did that, I was one of the first, I wasn't one of the first. I pre-ordered mine through my distributor 2 years ago when SHOT Show dropped. And we heard, it'll be Q2, then it'll be Q3. And by Q4, I was like, yeah, man, I'm not going to get this. So I canceled my order with my distributor. And then you guys brought it back out again for SHOT. And then hot damn, all those things started shipping. So I missed it by like, I don't know, 2 months. But I get it. It was one of those things you got to bring out. You want everyone to see, and you spent the time. So you got to be out there. You don't want someone to beat you to that punch now. But how are those things going right now? Are they, I know they're not in stock a lot as far as distribution goes. I see one every now and then in a store. Explain to people more about the technology, not to nerd out, but the benefits of having one that actually just mounts to the rail of your gun compared to having to buy a helmet and run that.
Yeah, so this is the thermal up here. That's what this guy is. This is just one of our new Aero optics. That's the thermal. And so I agree with what you said because my buddies, I've got about 3 of them that have night vision, and we do train and stuff like that. Now I'm blessed. We live on 5 acres. My parents have 200 acres, So I can go out whenever I want and just kind of, LARP around or have fun or shoot or train. But I agree with what you said. The average person who doesn't have a range that you can shoot night vision at, because most of them close at 8, 9 o'clock at night, or even before that. It's gonna sit in your safe. It's cool to think about Red Dawn, and you're gonna be smoking dudes, from behind a bush, and they don't know you're there. It's cool. I mean, believe me. I mean, I'm in the same boat. That's my mind. But the reality is, probably not gonna happen. But the thermal and night vision's right around $1,100, give or take. For the average person, these are great options. You definitely need with our night vision some kind of an IR illuminator. Um, but with that, you can do almost everything. I mean, the average shot most of us are probably taking is 50 yards and in. It can do that very, very well. For the dudes that are going to be in a Humvee or something like that, or like we'll drive around my side by side. Yeah, I need a PVS 14 or 31s because I need a wide field of view. But like my kids and I, when we shoot varmints, I'm not buying them PVS 31s or 14s. This is not going to happen. I don't have that kind of money. So unless someone wants to sponsor me, if you're watching this, you want to sponsor someone, come talk to me. I'll run them.
We'll put them on the kids.
Right, yeah, we'll do all kinds of videos. Believe you me, we'll have a lot of videos. But this kind of opened up the market, I think, to the average person. The average person I talk to, when you talk about a PVS 14, you're talking, let's say $1,000 for a quality one. $800 to $1,000 for high quality one. Then you're talking about all the arms and everything like that, and then you're talking about the helmet. And next thing you know, you're $2,000 into it, or even more, depending on where you're at. It's not hard to get into the $4,000 and $5,000 at all. This allows you at a far lower price point. And the cool thing with our thermal, which this one's a thermal, you can use this with night vision. So I can aim down this with my night vision on, and I can have thermal. I just turn the screen brightness down so it's not blaringly bright. So it gives you a solid option. Again, as I mentioned, it can clip on your rifle, and so you can use it as like a passive aiming device. But it just gets you in there at a better price point. Because again, most people that I talk to don't have $5,000 to drop on night vision. They just don't, especially not in today's economy. It's just not an option. Like you said though, look at the stars. I will say one of the coolest reasons to have night vision is look at the stars.
Yeah.
As dumb as it sounds, it's one of the coolest things to do. Until you do it, you don't understand it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely revolutionized that market, and I'm happy that we did it. I mean, just the mere fact that I know a ton of dudes now that have night vision and thermal capabilities, which makes all of us better. I mean, and it grows the market and it makes things a little bit cheaper. In terms of technology, in terms of what we did, so these units have the ability to record video and take pictures, which my kids love to record them smoking varmints and then showing my wife, who doesn't really seem to care. And then, as you mentioned, the timeline did take a turn back, and some of that's because we made upgrades, like not on the fly, but kind of like we made upgrades as it was going. And one was on this side, there's a USB-C charging port. Now it's a magnetic charging port. And some of that thought was, as we're out there in the rain, and I live in Ohio, so we have snow, that will get destroyed eventually. Like if you have a USB-C port on there, it's going to get wrecked. So it's a magnetic, because you're not going to have the same problems with magnets as you're going to have like an open port with electronics poking out. We have we moved the thermal sensor around to make more sense to where it sat at. For those of you who saw it, we used to have the thermal sensor down here, and that was to make the overall optics smaller. The only problem was you put your hand like this, and now your hand is what you see in thermal and nothing else, because the sensor was too low. But again, as you're going through it and trying things to make it look better, because obviously looking cool is rule number one. So we made those changes. There's digital zoom built into these. There's brightness settings. There's an internal reticle with kind of a little BDC type of a thing. There's a lot of really cool stuff to do with that, and I think we've definitely seen a lot of adaptations adoption rates for this guy and the night vision, for the mere fact that people were like, I could afford that. I could afford to drop $1,100 and get a night vision, try it out, and then maybe I go higher from there, maybe I don't. And I'm going to guess probably you guys have seen it, maybe I'm wrong, but the average person I know that has a PVS 13 or 31, 14 or a 31 or whatever, they probably run it 2 to 3 hours a year total. I mean, they go out once in a blue moon with their buddy, or they're looking at the stars. They're not out there kicking doors, and they're not out there on the range at 10 o'clock at night doing stuff. And they don't have the property to do it, so they don't need it. But for those of us that do, yeah, they are super nice. But this is, for that kind of guy, you can do all this stuff all day long and then just take it off. We don't need to use it. So they're great options.
Yeah, I wish on my 31s I could do some sort of recording, because as you said, Red Dawn, I've got this dream, and I go outside every time my ring cameras go off. I live on quite a bit of land, and I've got pesky raccoons that like to get in my trash, and I just have
Yeah,
this dream. I just have this dream of having the 31s, and I've went outside multiple times trying to do this, but I've got some of those they're civilian grade, but the flashbangs, and I just have these dreams of banging. Let me rephrase that. I was about to say something really bad. Flash banging a raccoon and then coming around the corner and just tat tat tat. But I haven't had that chance yet. But yeah, I yearn for that one day, and I wish I could record that. But it
poor little
hasn't happened yet.
boogers.
But you're right. You don't use them uh, if you're not training with them and in a some sort of structured regiment with them. You end up looking for reasons to use them. Just, hey, I'm going to go walk outside and just see what I can see today. Just because you want to use them, you're trying to figure out how can I recoup some of the, I don't know, some of the investment that I've put in these things. And so I don't know. I'm with you there. I really want to get. I can't wait. I'm going to get my hands on one of those things, and I'm gonna do some good videos out here. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, one thing that I think people don't always realize is I don't know how many times I've given someone my PVS 14, and immediately they go to shoulder a rifle, and they're like, no, you're gonna use the laser, you're gonna passive aim because they're like bumping into it because there's with at least with 14s you don't have that depth perception. Everything looks
Right.
like it's a set distance, and then you bump into things you don't even realize you're bumping into them, and then you're gonna passive aim. You have a laser that's set up in a proper way with what you're doing and how far you're shooting, and because guys will have lasers that are like they're kind of coming this way at a certain distance, and then when you shoot past that distance, you're way to the right or way to the left or whatever you're doing. And so, night shooting at night is a whole art in and of itself. And there's dudes that have mastered it, and it's because they do it a lot. If you're just that dude who's like, hey, I'm going to put this PVS 14 on when when somebody's jumping out of the sky and they're coming after me, you're just not going to help you as much as you think it will. I mean,
You're
you're
gonna be
just
wandering around in the dark like you're drunk. It's hard.
You're going to be
right.
ready to
And
take. You're going to be ready to take that shot, but you're going to trip over that tree root on the way to go get the guy
And hit your
because
face on a
you're,
wall.
yeah, and then break
I,
your PS 15.
Yeah, and break,
and I
and
don't
break
think
your $10,000.
yeah, and I don't think and most people like again if you don't do it like we talked about they just leave their IR illuminator on. It's a giant flashlight for all of us to know where they're at, and they don't even realize it. 'Cause all they think is like, "Well, I can see now." Yeah, you can see now. I can see you really well.
So can
So
I
anybody
see
else who owns
your
one of
back.
these?
yeah, so
Uh-huh.
it's a funny thing. Like it's something you have to practice. You have to train with. If you're in a car or even like we do in our side by side, your depth perception is completely messed up. Your ability to see it at different angles is completely messed up. And so, yes, you can do it, but if you don't practice it, it's like shooting, right? I mean, I can own guns. If I don't go out and shoot them, I may not be very effective with them or very efficient with them. Night vision is not any different at all.
I will
Well,
say on your side by side, if you haven't done it yet, I got on, it wasn't Timu, but it was another weird website similar to that. I can't remember which one, but I bought IR fog lights for my side by side. Dude, those things are freaking game changers if you
what?
like night vision. Yeah, so you can literally keep your lights off. These fog lights light up, and they're not the greatest, but I don't need any other light, and I can literally just drive. Dude, they're so
No,
fun.
they're super cool. I mean, it's one of those things like you buy them, your wife's and they're going, "What? Why do we have these?" And it's like, listen, for those 10 times a year, I'm
I'm gonna
driving
use
through
it.
the dark. Like you're gonna love this. Just wait. Just give it a second.
I'm gonna drive it to work.
Right.
Well, I, as someone like I have done a little bit of thermal hunting. I don't own any thermal devices. A friend of mine, another gentleman by the name of Adam, he's really big into coyote and varmint hunting with thermal. And in Idaho, we've got a lot of public land. He also is buddy with quite a few farmers and landowners, and they know he's there to kill coyotes. So he just gets to run all over the place out here. And so I've had the benefit of going with him a few times. But yeah, he's into like pulsar and FLIR and like always
Yeah.
leaning on me of like you got to get some thermal. And it's like, dang, dude, like sorry, I don't have $4,500 just laying around to put on a rifle scope that I use at nighttime. Like don't have that kind of money, and so I personally I haven't shot the new Holosun thermal optic. I've had the pleasure of looking through them a couple of times, but I think that that's going to fill a void in the market that's much needed. Of like, okay, maybe you can't do night vision, but you need some sort of device that works pretty well at night. And for people that don't understand the difference or haven't experienced the difference between like night vision and then thermal, I feel personally, as someone who's played a little bit with both, that thermal seems a little more approachable, and bringing the thermal optic to a market at that price is from a company that's well known for optics. I think is going to fill a huge void, especially when you guys get those rolling. So, are the production numbers bumping up on those? What's going on with them, Adam?
You're definitely seeing more and more of them hit the market, the night vision and the thermal. And kind of what you just mentioned, for those that don't know, so the first time you ever use night vision, you're gonna realize, oh my gosh, I'm so much cooler and I can do so much more at night. And then you use thermal, and thermal is just as much of a jump as it is going from a flashlight to night vision, from going night vision to thermal. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, I tell people this all the time. I can put my night vision on, look in a field, and not really see deer out there. Like, I mean, they're out there, but I can kind of see them. I kind of can't. I can pop my thermal up to my eye, and I see, oh, there's 35 deer just standing there, and I can see them in good detail.
And I can see their heart beating.
Right?
Yeah.
Predator.
I can see their heart beating.
No, I did a video forever ago with our thermal and night vision, and I stood maybe 50 yards away in the tree line and just kind of walked across. And it was super dark. I was in the middle of nowhere country, and you really couldn't see me on night vision. You kind of could, you kind of couldn't without an IR illuminator on it. And then I did it with thermal, and you just saw me from start to finish. And it was like that much of the exact same distance, the exact same walking, the gait, everything, the speed, and it was like night and day different. And yes, there's limitations to thermal that night vision maybe doesn't have, but in terms of just identification in general, just seeing there's something out there, thermal is just it's a complete game changer in terms of when you've never used it before to using it. It's hard to even explain to someone how much of a difference it is. It's hard to explain.
And it works during the daytime.
Yes, yeah, it's one of those things that you can do in the daytime too.
Except for if you're trying to zero it in the daytime, you have to put like a hand warmer on a target and use that to zero.
So the cool thing with ours that I'm going to say is with ours, you can actually, there's a built-in reticle. It's a red or green. Yeah, well, ours is all red. I think in this one they're all red. You can zero that, and then you can slave. Well, you would co-witness it with the built-in reticle. They're not slaved together.
Okay.
So that was one cool thing because yes, I've had to zero thermal before, and it is a giant pain in the butt until you heat up a target or you put a hot hands on something. And then you're like, all right, shoot it. All right, it fell off. Go get it quick. Put it back on the target.
Tape came undone.
All right, all the little pellets fell out of the hot hand. Put another one up there. Let's do it again.
Exactly.
So I'm glad we talked a little bit more about thermal and night vision than I expected to, because these next couple questions about innovation and technology, I don't know how many of these you're actually going to be able to answer. So like with Holosun, you guys have came out with features like the solar fail safes, shake awake. Is there anything you can tell us about what the next big leap is gonna be?
I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
Right. And I was going to say, if this helps, we are going to be dropping this episode in probably 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So at that point, I know it's not going to help much, but we're going to be into definitely end of October. So if you guys know you're running anything ad-wise, we can definitely do that. And if we have to hold this, we definitely can. But we get it.
I mean, I would plead the fifth, but what I would say, though, is like, you guys have seen this at SHOT Show, but the pistol version of the thermal, I think this is showing a lot of interesting concepts that we can do with other stuff, is the Bluetooth technology linking these two. When you can decouple the thermal sensor from the red dot itself, and then you can shrink the red dot down, that does a lot. I mean, it opens up a lot of doors as to what can you link it with Bluetooth, and what can you use it with, and how can it stand out from other things. As a somewhat joking but somewhat not. I mean, I can look in this thing and move the sensor around, and then it picks it up into here. I don't have to move my head. I can just move my hand, like in the tree stand is why I use it if I'm deer hunting. I can kind of just rotate my wrist around, and then if I'm looking into here, it picks up what's out there. and I can use the red dot to actually engage things. I don't have to use the built-in, the built-in reticle. I think that technology, what that can do, I think that's going to be an interesting concept in the next, 1 to 5 years, because it's going to, especially as battery life changes. I mean, the real holdback of a lot of things right now is battery life. How much can I do without sucking the battery dry in 15 minutes?
Right.
How do you get a bigger battery in there, but not increase the overall size, not change the footprint? I think that technology is going to be very interesting in the future. So what we can do with thermal, because there's only so many competition guys for our 507 comps and other stuff, but there's a ton of hunters, there's a ton of guys getting rid of varmints. So that, we have chickens. We're always killing raccoons trying to get in the chicken coop, or whatever. So I think that's going to be very interesting, especially like on this one time. This is the 22 grand power, and it gives me the ability to run thermal or non-thermal, and just kind of put stuff out that needs to go out. Great options for stuff.
I thought he was about to say we have chickens. I thought he was about to say we blast chickens every now and then. I was like,
that makes it easy, I guess.
You gotta sight the gun in somehow, right?
Aim small, miss small.
So Adam, I mean, you've expanded a little bit. I mean, touching on the thermal, it sounds like from those prototypes that are now coming into production that there is a pretty big possibility for a lot of trickle down from those technologies. Are there any specific gaps in the optics market that you guys have planned and are aiming to fill?
I mean, I think the future will be interesting. Yeah, and we definitely look for, one thing I love to ask people is what don't we do that you would like to see us do? And sometimes the answers are just not like reasonable at all. I mean, there's just some that are like, okay, I mean, I wish we could do that too, but I don't have a magic wand. But there's other stuff where, you look at it and you're like, okay, that's a good point. All right, let's do this. Let's try that. So I think a lot of it's just listening to people, because I don't know everything. None of our team knows everything. But if you talk to enough guys, they'll point stuff out as to what they'd love to see or why it's different or why it's not ideal. That's how you learn. That's how you grow as a company. And the consumer knows what the consumer wants. I mean, there's times, yes, where you got to kind of like show them how good something is. But a lot of times they know why something's not doing what they want it to do. And they'll let you know why. So the real answer, or the real thing, is just listening to the consumer and saying, okay, cool, let's try that, and then let's build upon it, expand upon it. And then for us, it's just trying to innovate new and cool things, like thermal on a pistol. Everyone's like, well, I don't know if I really would use it. And I said, I get that. I said, but you put on a PCC or something, or a rifle, that's where I would use it at. I would put that thermal on there, and I've got a super small thermal sensor, a super small optic that can go almost anywhere. And I've got thermal at the tip of my fingers anytime I want it. Because for those that don't know, I know you guys have seen it, but this is more or less a 509T. It's slightly bigger, but it's got a 509 mount, which is a pistol optic for those who don't know, or a rifle. You can put on a rifle. But I can run just this all day long, and then I can turn this on later, and all of a sudden I've got thermal. And it's the same optic I would use normally anyways. So I think the ability to do all that
I need
stuff,
this on my crink.
Right?
I need this on my crink.
It's just that cool stuff.
I was going to say what you're kind of hinting at. I own a old, I don't know if you've ever seen one, but the Torrey Pines. Have you ever heard of the Torrey Pines thermal? There's a pistol thermal that's about the size of your comp, and it had a little red dot on it, or a little locking plate and a little red button. And I bought that guy on a whim one day at a gun shop, like, let's just see what happens. And I was like, take me in your break room. Let's cut the lights off. Let me see if this thing does. And I don't know how much I trust the reticle, but there was value enough that I bought it, because I kept it on a 22 suppressed pistol, and I would go out and shoot armadillos or shoot whatever in the backyard when it was dark. And I loved that. And having, I think something with me, like even when Matt was at my place a couple weeks ago, there was an armadillo in the backyard, and instead of grabbing, hey, I'm going to grab the night vision and I'm going to go, full on LARPer here and I'm going to shoot this thing. It was like, nah, it's easier to grab the suppressed 22 and just hold a Streamlight weapon mounted flashlight in my other hand and just one hand that dude and shoot it. But
I did too.
And I did. But it was just like,
with
man,
the keychain suppressor.
Yeah, having the ability to have that on a pistol is super cool. So that's no longer they don't even produce that anymore. And I don't know if it's because it sucked or whatever, but I couldn't find mine at the time, but yeah, those things are cool. So the smaller thermal gets, I understand the technology, you got to fit everything in there, but that would be super cool. So without giving away the trade secrets again, talking about the future, where do you see, or are you excited about where Holosun is going to be in the next, 5 or so years? Do you think that it's gonna, grow just like everyone else, or do you think that you've got some stuff in the works that you think is gonna, take you to that next tier?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I mean, for one, just for me, I mean, I do a lot of hunting. The thermal's a huge thing, but I also think for in the back of our heads, we're always thinking Red Dawn or something like that. I mean, if you're a gun guy and you've seen Red Dawn, you're always like, well, what if, the North Koreans are flying out of the sky at 2 a.m. And, not long ago, I mean, very few people had thermal. I mean, I didn't have thermal. I couldn't afford a $5,000 FLIR clip-on. And I tried my buddies. They were awesome, but I was not dropping $5,000, on that. But I think opening up the ability to have these things to everybody makes us as a nation better. I think it makes us as, that protector a lot better, and it gives more options, and it gives them at a reasonable price point for a lot of us. It's kind of like suppressors. Those prices, they're coming down more and more every day, and it just makes us better in general. And like you said, with the armadillos, I don't know how many times I'd go out to check on the chickens. I'd have I'd put my helmet on. I'd have my PS14 down. I'd be walking around with my iris, and like, all right, what's out here now? And now, I just, maybe it's just old age. I just open the window. I give my kid the thermal 22, and I'm like, what's out there? He's like, there's this. All right, go ahead and take it. He puts one down on it and lets it go. But I think, you see those things change, and I think Holosun's pretty good at being that change and promoting that change and trying to help people be that change. And that to me means a lot, because it's, I love nothing more than I meet somebody like what's new and I can go over something new with them, and they're super excited for it. I mean, they're just as excited as a kid getting some candy, and it's like awesome. Like, now let's go try it out. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I've got a gun, so let's go try it out. And it's awesome to bring what those people like to that market and to help them out, and to see Holosun grow as much as it has, to the point that companies want to work with us. They want to be part of that change. And I mentioned before we got on here, one of my prized possessions is this guy, and Desert Eagle gave me this guy, a 50 A&E with Holosun grip panels on it, and it's got my Holosun 507 comp. It looks like it's a mini 507. So ridiculous. I'm gonna take a deer with that this year, because in Ohio you got a straight wall cartridge. Yes. So 50 A&E is a straight wall cartridge. So I'm gonna cap a deer with a golden platinum 50 A&E Desert Eagle.
That's beautiful.
Just doing all this stuff with them and trying new stuff and bringing it to people, and that's what I love the most. I love being able to just keep innovating and trying new stuff, and these price points are just fantastic. The Aero Optic, you see it for a very good price on the street right now. Out of my trench coat on the street. It's just great to see people that come up to you and they go, I've got 3 kids or 2 kids, and they say, hey, I was trying to outfit them. What can I do for $700? And I'm like, here's the optics that you can do. It's bomb proof. You're going to get a good lifespan out of it. It's got different reticles, different colors, red or green or gold. Helping people get that and get the next generation to shooting is a huge thing I'm a proponent of, and that's why I do stuff with my kids. They're 11 and 14. They shoot competition with me. They've been shooting since they were 3 or 4 years old. Obviously me helping them, but we have so many guns in the house. People are bringing guns into the house that I'm like, hey, you guys gotta be safe doing this. Holosun has always been very good with like that next generation, getting them into shooting, and that means a lot to me. IWI is also a partner, and they do the same thing. They're always looking to get the younger generation in, because I mean, I look at it and I'm like, there's only so many of us old people who are eventually not going to be able to do what we do. We got to get these new people into it and wanting to hunt, wanting to shoot, wanting to do competition, and it's not easy to find companies that want to do that. A lot of them don't want to do anything with kids. They don't want the liability. They don't want to look at it, and I'm looking more of a safety standpoint. Like, I want kids to be safe with guns. I want them to know, just don't go pick them up, but that's education. And there's companies like Holosun and others that want to do that as they innovate. And so it's like all those things come together, and it's just a great company. It's fantastic that they genuinely stick to being a pro 2A community type of a gun company, and just expanding out from there. It's just awesome. I can go on forever, but it really is a great company to do stuff with.
I think it's really cool though that you say that, because not to disparage the Holosun brand, but I think something that actually is in your favor is that because your optics are so economically priced, that's the best way to put it. You know, you've got some of these other legacy brands out there that some of these optics, if you want to mount a pistol optic to your pistol, cost as much or more than the pistol that you're buying. And same with some of the rifles. So I think that you being at the price point you're in with the technology that you guys have, it also allows you to do things with other brands and other manufacturers of firearms to say, hey, you know, like it's cool if we put this thing on a, you know, a $300 or $250, you know, Glock clone and roll with it. And there's nothing wrong with it. And that definitely appeals to certain people that are in the firearms market, because you don't want to pay $500, $600, $700, $800 for, you know, a red dot pistol optic, when you don't have, you know, half that in your own pistol. I don't know.
Yeah. No,
It's
I mean,
weird.
that's a good point. I mean, as you said, I was looking at this guy, and this is one of those Mountain Goat Billy Gun Labs 22 ARs. It's like the lightest weight thing on earth, and it's just something
Yeah.
fun. You know, it's $400 or $500. It's like, do you really want to drop $800 on optic on a $500 22?
Right.
No, I'll put an SCRS or an Arrow on there, spend $250, and then I've got a quality optic. And that's how I look at it, especially, you know, again, I'm a dad. That's one of my primary things I am, and I'm a husband. And when I'm trying to get my kids something, I want it reliable. I don't want to break on them when they need it in a competition like that. But I've got to outfit 4 guns for everything we do. You know, so
Yeah.
it's like, what can I do? It's quality. What can I do that I'm happy with? And Holosun checks most of those boxes. I mean, it's been a wild ride going from what it started as to what it is now. And, you know, again, it's a great company with a lot of great people. I mean, they care so much about the consumer and trying to put the best quality product possible. It's awesome to see a team that dedicated to what it is.
I I think as a community, as a gun community, again with the all the backbiters out there, but that everything is compared to these, not just optics, but weapons companies, equipment, everything of like, oh, their success is measured by military contracts. However, like outside of the box, on the flip side of that, a lot of those companies are shoestringed by or hamstringed by that. It's like they've got to fulfill this. It has to be this way, and well-funded research and development will come from that, but usually it's a little slower moving. And companies like Holosun, who aren't bound to what Uncle Sam says or another government agency overseas, like you get the freedom to be like, can we do this? Let's see if we can do it. And from that are coming really innovative products. So hats off to you guys for that.
Thank you.
So if you could drop one message to every shooter in the U.S. who's ever considered Holosun, what would it be if they still haven't tried anything from Holosun?
I would say give it a try. I'm sure you know somebody that has one. They're gonna let you shoot it. If you're at a match and I'm there, stop in, say hi. I will gladly let you shoot one of them. If you're at a trade show, we've always got a live fire demo booth at like darn near everything. We'll let you shoot them. If I'm there, we've got our machine guns and stuff you can shoot stuff on because they hold up just fine machine guns. And I would just say try it. I mean, I would say just don't be too proud. Try something. Just like everything else in life, you're only going to paint yourself into a small little corner if you never try anything new. And there's things that I look at from other companies that I still do other stuff with other companies as well because maybe they make something a little bit better and I want that. We all do something really well and we all try to be the best we can, but there's just certain areas that we look for other things. And so I would say try it and see if you like it. And I would venture to guess you're going to enjoy it. You're probably going to own one very quickly after you try it.
All right. So before Matt gets to his last question, this will be, we've done a really good job of not bringing any competitors in, but now I'm going to name some competitors. But what I want to do is I want to name an optic, and you give me your recommendation of someone who's looking to buy that optic, what what Holosun product you'd say give this a shot to. So we'll just start real easy, and we'll go with the first one. We'll just say like an EOTech, like an EXPS. I'm not worried about whether it has night vision or not. Just that holographic weapon sight. And I understand yours aren't holographic, but if someone wants a EXPS, what would you recommend them go with?
That would be definitely like an Ames optic, the AEMS. That's pretty much the equivalency of that, or the Ames Max if you want a bigger window. But those are relatively a really good comparison to that optic.
All right. So what about any of the? I mean, they are a little different, but we'll just say any of the aim point stuff. We'll just say like a T2.
Definitely the Arrow, the new optic we have, which is pretty close to that. The Arrow or the Arrow Evo. The Evo's a little bit bigger eye box on it. Or the SCRS. Any of those ones would line up really well compared to that.
All right, so then we'll go with a Delta Point Pro.
If you want to stick with the Delta Point Pro footprint, the SCS carry or the SCS, that's going to be a Delta Point. And then just pistol optics in general, I'm always going to recommend the 507 comp. Personally, I just think it's a good carry optic. It's a good competition optic. That or the EPS line. The EPS line is a super solid carry. But yeah, I mean, if you want that same footprint, the SCS carry. If you don't want that same footprint, you can go away from it. Probably the 507 comp or the EPS line would be solid options.
Yeah, and I'm assuming the 507 comp too when we want to talk about the like the SRO or any of those bigger optic. Okay. Yeah, so that pretty much nails me down. I mean, it's just definitely, guys listening, just definitely take the time, go check them out. If you have any questions, comment below. We'll make sure Adam gets to. That way he can, if he can't answer you, I'll at least answer for him on his behalf. I'll reach out if I don't know the answer. But definitely comment if you have any questions about what optic or, what should I go with if I'm trying to replace or whatever. What was it?
Or lighting solution.
Or a lighting solution. Look at that. Look at you. You were listening.
I'll admit, I don't own any Holosun optics, but I do own a couple of Holosun lights. And again, punching way above their dollar class there. I love my PID. I love it. That magnetic charger, like I don't ever have to take it off. I don't ever have to switch batteries. Once in a while, I just go and plug it into the wall, and I'm good. So
yeah,
well, shout out PID.
Yeah, I was going to say that's my problem. Is it never fails. My batteries are always dead, so that's why you got to keep. That's
Turn
why
your light off, Mike.
You think you do. You just got to have a big box of batteries. So, Adam, I think this is. We got one final question for you before we close out, and it's Matt's staple. So, Matt, take it away.
I think we're there, and I'm excited to hear this list because Adam is a gentleman of taste, and he is a connoisseur of fine firearms and accessories. So I'm pretty excited for this. Adam, this is our top 5 guns section. Just to wrap up, we all kind of judge each other based on the types of guns we like to shoot and collect. This is not the zombie apocalypse or World War III, anything like that. But it is completely imaginary. NFA doesn't matter. The cost of ammunition doesn't matter. And it doesn't have to be a gun that you own. Completely hypothetical. But we want to know, Adam, what 5 guns, only 5 guns, to cover all your styles of shooting for the rest of your life, what 5 are you taking with you?
So it's supposed to cover everything, huh?
You got to be able to do all the types of shooting you like to do with only 5 guns.
All right, so I would go with the IWI Negev. That's the belt-fed. Can do magazine or belt-fed. If it's
Okay.
No NFA anymore. That can do just about everything.
Done.
I would say right.
Mic drop.
I can kill everything and anything. Yeah, I would say the gun I own that I have the most fun shooting is the best AK in the world, and that's the Galil. Just so that Reddit can go off on that.
Let's go, dude.
I have more. Everyone who knows me knows that the Rock and Lock AK like Galil is like my favorite gun of everything I own. I would definitely say probably something like a 9mm carbine would definitely be in the repertoire. I've got one of the Global Ordnance's. I can't remember the name of it, but it looks like a Scar pretty much. That one's it's a super solid shooter. I would definitely do some kind of a 22 bullpup, or not bullpup, like a PCC type of a thing. Some kind of like a real shorty type deal. Then
Got one
some
more.
kind of some kind of 2011. I shoot the platypus a lot from Stealth Arms,
All right.
but I can't get enough of 2011s. I freaking love 2011s.
Solid
That's my
freaking
five.
choices. Wait, hold on. Nothing on that list is DI, is it? No.
Probably, yeah.
My boy runs on pistons, baby.
I will. The gun I shoot the most though, because the real world NFA exists, is my IWI Zion, and this one's got the
All right.
OG Tiger. This got the OG Tiger Stripe from Pro 2 Customs, but this is the select fire, so that's why I run it more than anything else. Is I've got an SOT, so my in the real world, I love my select fire just to kind of go brat.
All right.
Yeah, I'm with you too. And before we close it out, let's talk about your competition setup. So you what disciplines do you shoot in?
So I primarily shoot AK matches and then 3-gun/2 gun. For the AK matches, obviously, I run the Galil from IWI, 7.62 and 5.56. I run both of those depending on what the match is.
Your 5.56 is rock and lock converted though?
It is not. No, it's just the mag. And that is mostly because I really enjoy once in a while running a drum mag. I have the KCI 50 rounders and the 100 rounders.
Yeah.
And there are times where rock and lock, you just got to go with the higher capacity.
I got you.
And then for 3-gun, I shoot a IWI Zion. I shoot the Genesis shotgun, and I shoot the Stealth Arms Platypus, the 2011. And then for 2-gun, we shoot usually a Zion and the Platypus or something equivalency to that. If I ever take up USPSA for real, I'll shoot the 50 cal in gold, just so I can be a baller, and people get a lot of stares.
Will you go do like a steel challenge or something with that next year, please?
There's
Like a
a
short
guy
little
online.
fast match, just bang.
There's a guy online that shoots USPSA with the Desert Eagle, and he probably just pisses all the fuds off who are like, you can't do it. And I've really been like low key, like I need to ask for some bullets and some brass, and then just start reloading for it.
I was gonna
and
say
just start shooting like all the time.
You could load like the perfect round for it though. That just made it like purr like a kitty cat. Just tame the 50 and kick some butt on it.
I really want to. I like low key want to show up to like a 3-gun match and be like, so this is what I'm shooting. This is like one round per target, right?
Try and get like a master class certification on your Desert Eagle.
My 7-round magazines.
Golly, it's gonna be tons of reloads. Your belt's gonna weigh like 40 pounds, but it's cool.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%.
Well, Matt, go ahead and get him to tell him where to find him and close us out.
All right, everybody. Well, if you're still listening, we definitely appreciate you. Make sure to go over to Holosun's website. I'm going to hand it over to Adam just so that he can plug all of their socials and also tell you where you can find his personal page, where I know he likes to do plenty of hijinks. So go ahead and plug Holosun and yourself as well, Adam.
So Holosun.com, obviously that's the website. You guys will find me probably more than my own personal stuff. I'm on the Holosun's Instagram. I answer questions through there. If I've ignored you, it's not because I try. We get like 100 tags an hour, and the reality is I just don't see 99% of them. And then the Facebook, obviously, Holosun Optics is the Instagram, Holosun Optics on Facebook, and then mine is Holosun_Adam. And I'm sure at some point somebody's going to be sneaky on it, but generally Holosun_name is our team, and we have it that way so you can reach out to us if you need stuff, and we're easily reachable. And then Adam, I think it's competition shooter or something like that, is my Facebook, Adam Litke competition shooter or something like that. But Instagram is where most people contact me through, is Instagram, like 99% of the time. And happy to answer questions if we're at demos. Like we have Ohio Range Day here at the end of this month, I think. I'll be there. I'm at a lot of different competitions throughout the U.S. Stop in, say hi, talk to me. If you want to see an optic, I've usually got the little football case with me with all the optics in it. Happy to show you guys whatever I can. And right,
The trench coat. Watch for
It's
Adam's
so
stretch.
funny carrying that thing. Yeah, every once in a while, someone's like, "Do you really have it?" And I bring out this literal like Pelican case with like 30 optics, and they're like, "It actually exists." I'm like, literally, I'm like, I have got almost every optic we make in this case to show off or let you guys try. So absolutely.
Super rad. Well, we want to thank you, Adam, for joining us. Everybody, thanks for watching. On behalf of Adam, Mike, and myself, we'll catch you next time.